Governor, I'm going to spin you around if you can. Keep going. Governor, first of all, Ted Bundy, 7 days is an awful short time for a death warrant. Why is that?
It's almost 11 years since the crime was committed, so I don't consider it to be short at all. And I believe the death warrant was properly signed and that justice needs to prevail, and it should take place next Tuesday.
How likely do you think that's going to be?
I'm not going to predict what appeal systems may or may not do, but I have a strong feeling that on Tuesday of next week, the state will be able to carry out its duty.
His lawyers are saying that 7 days is a travesty. That doesn't give them adequate time to prepare a new appeal.
They've had 11 years to prepare appeals. It's not the first time I've used a 7-day limit, and it's their job to get the work done.
Why does everyone seem so certain it's going to go this time?
Well, I'm not, as I said earlier, the courts are still there, and he still has attorneys, and I'm sure that they'll do what they can. We, of course, signed the death warrant to be carried out in 7 days.
If there is a fault, obviously there is a bunch of contracts being scheduled, the payments being made on right away and coming to money in the bank. There's a reserve we're taking down with the projects. If you have faith that Mr. Henderson can manage the you're good. You're well.
This morning there's been a series of telephone calls that we want to respond to, of which I've given response to, and this has to do with Ted Bundy, where we had inquiry by his civil attorney, Diana Weiner, and also by the 7th Circuit State Attorney, John Tanner, and also by Mr. Gardner, who is the Chief Assistant. In each instance, it was to ask for time for Ted Bundy, that he wanted to make time for debriefing with law enforcement agencies. The request for time varied, but one was as long as 3 years, and then he would need additional time to get ready for death. And we have sent word back to each of these individuals that the rendezvous with the electric chair will be on next Tuesday at 7 o'clock in the morning. And that I have instructed Richard Duggar earlier this morning to make certain that Ted Bundy and those that represent him and those that wish to talk to him have all the time that can be provided between now and 7 a.m. on Tuesday next. We're not going to have the system manipulated in terms of trying to extend time by now wanting to talk to law enforcement people that he toyed with for years as they try to gain information from him. So that our answer to each of these requests is no. That on January 24th at 7 a.m. the death warrant will be in effect.
Have you had the request covered from other states, more importantly?
Not really. But I think one of the things to be made clear here to law enforcement, which I think they realize more than anyone else, what Ted Bundy has done, is that you don't negotiate with a murderer. You don't negotiate with a killer. And he's been in jail for 11 years. He certainly could have come clean if there are other occasions, but he has used the court, and now all of a sudden he wants to tell the truth. And therefore, this is a public statement in response to inquiries, of which one evidently made its way to one of the newspapers today, that we are not considering that request.
Did John Tanner talk with you personally?
No, he talked to Mr. Cummings from the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, but Mr. Gardner did talk, I believe, directly with Andrea.
Did they mention specifically what he wants to talk about?
I don't know if it was specifically, but had to do with other cases.
Did they name the cases?
I don't believe they named specific cases, no.
Did they characterize the offers that he was
That he would need time beyond January 24th, as much as perhaps 3 years, and then he would need more time to prepare for death. That was one of the requests.
Who mentioned 3 years? Who was it?
That was Mr. Tanner.
Do you have any sympathy for those family members, survivors of victims who may have questions in their own mind, even outside Florida, other states, who would like to have this resolved? If he would come forward and make a confession?
For him to be negotiating for his life over the bodies of victims is despicable.
Were you told that he plans to admit his involvement in those cases?
We don't have any hard information as to what he will do, other than he's going to need time to get it done.
I think the stories could be that long, it would take that long, though.
I'm not going to speculate how, but it could be that I need to have my memory refreshed from the geography of the area so I can pinpoint where perhaps I buried a body. I mean, I'm just illustrating what could occur. And we're simply, he has manipulated the system in this state and in this nation for almost 11 years. And now he's trying to manipulate in a different way.
Governor, have you given any consideration to the fact that if he did talk and come clean about all of his crimes, that the families of some of those victims in the other state might at least be given the peace of mind of knowing where their daughters are buried or what happened to them?
We have Florida victims. And as governor of the state of Florida, we are very concerned about the victims here in Florida, and we're carrying out justice in the state of Florida.
Does that mean you're more concerned about the Florida victims than the out-of-state victims?
No, we're not. But we tried him on cases known to us and was found guilty on cases known to us and has been denied his appeal on cases known to us and have signed a death warrant on a case known to us.
Do you take his request for more time as a sign that he expects to go this time?
I don't know that. I do know that he has basically lied through the entire process, and why anyone would believe he'll tell the truth now is somewhat beyond me. It's too early to, I believe, make judgment for tonight. Hopefully it will not be the case.
Governor, you mentioned the word hoodlums. Does that mean that you don't find much credence in the community claims of issues of community jobs, housing, that sort of thing?
No, that's not it. What I'm saying is that the way that, and I just happen to remember that the incident did occur on Martin Luther King Day, and grievances were always addressed through non-violent but a very effective way of communication. And that in this particular case, something that is a word back to each of these individuals, that the rendezvous with the electric chair will be on next Tuesday at 7 o'clock in the morning, and that our act takes place, whether he believes to be in self-defense or not. And I believe that others think the same.